Whenever we're reviewing an account for an audit or a potential partnership, there are a few things that stand out that can give us a good idea of how the account has been run in the past. One of those key areas is around ad copy. Now, while crafting search ad copy doesn't have to be too overly complicated, there are quite a few instances we've seen that leave a lot to be desired. Now, we can't go through every mistake that we've seen in accounts in a single video, but I do want to highlight some of the highest level and most common errors that we see. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 common mistakes we see with responsive search ads and start to give you some ideas of how to remedy them.
This Paid Media Pros video is sponsored by Optio, the smarter, more efficient way to manage Google Ads. Optio's platform operates as a second pair of eyes on your accounts, regularly monitoring performance trends to make data-driven optimization suggestions for keyword strategies, bid optimizations, ad copy creation, and more. Better yet, you can save time by implementing their suggested changes directly in their user-friendly interface. Optio is extending their free trial period for Paid Media Pros viewers for 60 days, meaning you get 2 full months of testing and using Optio on your accounts before you pay a dime. If you're interested in giving it a shot, click the link on the screen right now or in the video description to get started.
Now, in full transparency, as I mentioned in the intro, find a lot of these things when I'm doing a review of an account. And every single one of the things that I'm going to talk about today actually comes from an audit that I'm working on right now. It was the inspiration for this video. But the problem with that means that I can't really show you the account itself. So I'm going to be using some made-up examples for this video, but I promise you they lean pretty closely into what was actually in the ad account that I've been looking at. Now, as I mentioned, there are going to be 3 common mistakes. We'll go through each of these using the exact same ad, and I'll show you how I would remedy it in that situation and talk through the thought process. So the first mistake that I see is not taking advantage of character counts. Now let's hop into that example I was talking about. And here's what we're going to walk through for the course of the video. As you can see, the headlines that are in here and the descriptions are relatively short compared to each of the different maximum lengths that you can use, which is 30 characters for each headline, 90 characters for each description. These are all pretty short. They're all less than half that you could use, except this one description down here does lean a little bit further, but just barely over half. Now, I'm not saying that you need to create really long-winded headlines and descriptions when you're trying to craft your ad copy, but if you have all this space available and you can create a more compelling message with those additional characters, why wouldn't you start to put these together and make it something that takes more advantage of the space that Google gives you? I'm not going to fix every single one of these right now, because let's say maybe you want to keep your headline 1 as your brand name. For us, that's Paid Media Pros. It's only 15 characters, but it's a little bit different because it's your brand name. But a lot of these other headlines can be combined or tweaked or adjusted to be a lot more compelling. I mentioned the audit that I'm doing. They had their brand name in the first headline, and then line 2 was literally just official, because they wanted it to say their brand name and that they were the official store. So for them, it all fit into one line. So I actually changed their headlines to be brand name and then official store, all in one headline. For us, that maxes out the line, but for them, it actually didn't. There were even a couple characters left over in the end. But by doing that, you easily got rid of what was in headline 2, because you don't need to say official twice. So now you've given yourself more space that you can use. For us, we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it as Paid Media Pros. But now headline 2 could be a combination of the official and YouTube channel to be the official YouTube channel. And now we can get rid of headline 3 because it's, again, a duplicate. And now we have additional space to take advantage of. Again, it might not be the biggest detriment to not utilize every character within your headlines and descriptions, but the objective with your ad copy is to create a compelling message so that users will click on your ad, come to your site, and ideally fill out a lead gen form or make a purchase. If you're given all these characters to utilize to get that message across, you should probably be using it. By combining a lot of these into one headline, actually lead us into the second mistake that I see with responsive search ads. And that's not using all of the available fields that you're given. For responsive search ads on Google and Microsoft, you're given 15 headlines and 4 descriptions. Same thought process behind using the character counts. If you have the space available, why wouldn't you use it? So jumping back into our example here, now that we've combined headlines 2 and 3 together, now we have an additional space, and we only have 6 headlines total. There are only 3 descriptions, and again, they're pretty short. We're leaving description space on the table with description 4, as well as all the other characters at the end of 1, 2, and 3. So really quickly, with the magic of editing, I'm going to put together another ad next to this one, and you'll see which one you find more compelling. So now we can see the original variant 1 on the left, and variant 2, starting in column F over here, that takes full advantage of all of the character counts in each headline and description, as well as filling out all of the different fields that we have available. There are always some exceptions to the rule, but I'll pretty much guarantee you that variant 2 is going to perform better than variant 1 when you test them against each other. One reason I hear that people don't take advantage of all of the different fields that are available, especially for headlines, is because they're going to pin different pieces into each place. So they would put their brand name in headline 1, pin that in place, and then sometimes even pin something in headline 2. I'm not going to go too terribly far into pinning strategy and ad messaging strategy in this video because we already have another video that talks about that. You can check it out at the top of the screen right now. But as a really quick allusion to that video, you can see up at the top here that I kind of have 5 different versions of an overview of what the channel is. Paid Media Pros, PPC videos. It's an official YouTube channel, paid media advertising videos, learn PPC on YouTube. They're all kind of giving you the idea that this is a YouTube channel dedicated to PPC. The next batch down below talks about effectively the features. We talk about Google and Microsoft, paid social, you can be beginner to advanced, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, giving you a little bit more description of what's there. And then headlines 11 through 15 are a little bit closer to calls to action. It's not perfect, but you can tell that we've got kind of 3 different blocks here. So in theory, following the strategy that I outlined in the video that I just mentioned, you've basically got a template where headlines 1 through 5 are kind of the overall general statement. Headlines 6 through 10 are some of the features, and then headlines 11 through 15 are calls to action. And the theory behind this is that if you really want to have some specific messaging in headline 1, maybe your brand name, for example, you could put together 5 different versions of your brand name, pin them all in headline 1, and then they're never going to show up next to each other. You can start to run a test with each of the different verbiage options and see which one performs better. Now, if you were paying really close attention, you probably already heard me say the last mistake that I hear with responsive search ads. And again, one of the ones that was happening in the account that I just got done auditing. And that is only using 1 responsive search ad per ad group. In the account I was looking at, there was 1 responsive search ad in every single ad group across the entire account, and they were all the exact same ad. So that already has its inherent problem of not really writing ad copy to match the keywords, but that's not one of the more common mistakes. Now, although variant 1 of this sheet is not my favorite version of an ad, it's at least a different variant, and you could test variant 1 versus variant 2. As I said, I would expect variant 2 to perform much better, take a lot more of the traffic, but as I mentioned, there's always the exception to the rule. You're never quite sure which one's going to perform, and that's why you test. So you could test a short version versus a longer version. You could test multiple different long versions against each other, whether you're testing the different pin strategy that I outlined, or maybe you're trying to test a different angle on the messaging. Maybe one has a positive spin while another has a negative spin. But the main takeaway is that in each ad group, you're able to have 3 responsive search ads active at any given time. So this is effectively a continuation of taking full advantage of all of the space that Google and Microsoft are allowing you to have. We already want to make sure that we're taking full advantage of the character counts and using those to our advantage. Then we want to make sure that we're filling out all of the different fields that are available. And then also having as many variants as we can to make sure that we are, 1, constantly testing the messaging that's in the account to learn what performs best, but then also giving Google and Microsoft the most source material to dynamically test, learn more about our target audience, and ideally start to learn how to better perform for us based on the different performances of each headline, description, and ad copy variant as a whole. In the end, this video is probably just a little bit of a therapy session for me to specifically call out this account that I'm reviewing and talk about the big mistakes that I'm seeing with responsive search ads. But it's not only this account. These are 3 trends that we see across the board in most accounts that we take over. So we figured it was worth a video. Hopefully you're not making these mistakes in your account, or if you are, now you have some ideas of how to remedy them, start taking more advantage of the space that you're given to convey how awesome your business or product is. If you have any additional questions about these particular mistakes that we tend to see, or anything else about responsive search ad strategy, we would love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks for watching our video. We really appreciate it. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up below. If you really liked it, maybe think about subscribing to the Paid Media Pros YouTube channel and you'll get alerted every time a new video drops.
If you really liked it, you can help support the channel by checking out some of the t-shirts that we're wearing on our merch shelf, as well as looking at the Super Thanks button.